Good morning, friends. I am Shivamallappa M, Assistant Professor of English, Maharani's Arts College for Women, Mysore. Today, I am going to teach a novel, Silas Marner, by George Eliot, which is prescribed for second year optional students. Silas Marner is a weaver who lives in the village of Ravello. He lives completely alone, and he has been known to have strange fits. For 15 years he has lived like this. 15 years earlier, Silas was a respected member of a church of Lantern Yard in a city to the north. He had a close friend named William Dane, and he was engaged to marry a serving girl named Sarah. But one day he was falsely accused that he stole a bag of money. But Silas swears he is innocent and asks that his room be searched. The empty bag is found there by William Dane. Then Silas remembers that he last used the knife to cut a strap for William, but he says nothing to the others. The church members declare Silas guilty. Silas, betrayed by his friend and now by his God. He soon receives word from Sarah that their engagement is ended, and a month later she marries William Dane. Soon afterward, Silas leaves Lantern Yard. He settles in Ravello, where he feels hidden even from God. He was working hard and earning more and more money and gold. The gold gives him a kind of companionship. He works harder and harder to earn more of it and stores it in a bag beneath the floor. So this is about Silas Marner. So now we will see the setting of the village Ravello, where Silas Marner has come. The greatest man of Ravello is Quercus. His wife is dead, and his sons are left to their own devices. The eldest son, Godfrey, has made a hasty marriage with a woman of poor reputation, and the second son, Dunstan, is blackmailing Godfrey to keep their father from knowing. On the way to hunt, where he hopes to sell the horse, Dunstan passes the weaver's cottage. This sight gives him the idea of borrowing the money from Marner. He continues to the hunt and makes the sale. However, instead of turning over the horse at once, he rides in the chase and kills the animal on a stake. Dunstan begins to walk home. It begins dark and foggy before he can reach there, and in the darkness he comes to Marner's cottage. Dunstan goes there to borrow a lantern and to try to get some money out of the weaver. He finds no one there. Searching around the floor, he soon finds where the money is hidden. He replaces the bricks that had covered it and carries the money away. Silas has poor eyesight, and on his return, he finds nothing wrong until he goes to take out his money to count it. When he cannot find it, he feels that once again he has been robbed by an unseen power. However, he clings to the hope that there was a human thief, and he goes off to the village inn to find the constable. The news of the robbery spreads quickly, and there is soon general agreement that the thief must have been a peddler who had been in the neighborhood. No other stranger has been noticed, and no local person could be suspected. Dunstan's disappearance is not thought strange because that has happened before. Silas is now treated with some consideration by his neighbors. Dolly Winthrop especially visits Silas and tries to coax him into attending church, at least on Christmas. However, Silas finds no connection between local religious customs and those he knows of, and Christmas finds him at home as usual. Christmas and New Year's are the time of special festivals in Ravello. The most important celebration is the New Year's dance at Squarecast home. There, Godfrey is unable to keep himself away from Nancy Lammeter, the girl he has always intended to marry. Although he knows it is wrong and that the news of his marriage must come out soon, he determines to enjoy himself with Nancy while he can. Nancy, for her part, wants to marry Godfrey, but his strangeness has made her cool toward him, and when he asks her forgiveness, she says only that she will be glad to see anyone reform. Meanwhile, Godfrey's wife Molly has become determined to revenge herself for his treatment of her, and she sets out with their child to confront him at the dance. She loses her way in the snow, and at last she fortifies herself with opium, with which to which she has become addicted. The opium only makes her more drowsy, and Molly sinks down in the snow. Her child slips from her arms. It is attracted to a light that comes from the open door of Marner's cottage, where the weaver stands unaware of their child's presence. He has been looking out to see if his money might return and has been stricken by one of his fits. When he awakes, he sees gold by his heart and thinks his money has come back. Then he discovers that the gold is the hair of a child. At last he overcomes his wonder enough to realize that the child has come in out of the snow, and there outside it discovers Molly's body. Silas takes the child and hurries to Squire Carr's house to get the doctor. His entrance causes Godfrey both fear and hope because he recognizes the child as his own, and he hopes that he may be free at last. He goes with Dr. Kimbley and finds that the woman Marner found is indeed his wife and that she is dead. The woman is buried that week, a stranger to everyone but Godfrey. Silas feels that the child has been sent to him and is determined to keep it. This determination causes even warmer feeling for him in Ravello, and he is given much well-meant advice. Dolly Winthrop gives him real aid with the child and offers some old clothes that belong to her son, Aaron. Godfrey is glad enough to have the child cared for. He gives money for its support but never claims it as his own. Silas names the child Hephzibah, alias Epi for short, after his mother and little sister. He finds that, unlike his gold, Epi makes him constantly aware of the world and of other men. He gives her his wholehearted love, and everywhere he finds kindness from the other villagers.